All right, we are back on a Sunday night, and I'm extremely excited to be back here talking to some amazing educators from across the country. And one of the things I realized, and before I do that, of course, I can't be doing this on Sunday nights without Swivel and Bulb, our partners. And we hear and talk about Stronger Together a lot. I talk about it throughout the book, but often people think about just other educators, and I can't thank our partners enough. I have many partners, Swivel and Bulb for our podcast here. Avis's that can be the partner, and when you go to FETC, and so many other solution providers make not only this possible for all of you to tune in and view, but also things that we do each and every day in our schools. And one of the things I noticed when I was watching some of the opening photos, which I just enjoy being and learning from so many people, is that I would say about a quarter of those photos were from FETC. And it's been extremely exciting the last week, this week, next week, the next few weeks to really dive into the presenters who are going to come share their content, share their stories, and share their work. And for me, one of the bonuses for doing events, I was just down in Jersey City with Tech and Learning and at Nightscape, is that yes, I might have presented a few sessions, but that's like 10% of the time that I'm there. The other time is learning from other people, meeting individuals. And we're going to bring two of them on here tonight, two of our fabulous presenters. We have Ainsley Hill and Kelli Coons from, I'm here from Boston, both of them south of here. And I just learned tonight they are now off for the week. So they're going to bring it tonight because they have a little bit of vacation. So Kelli and Ainsley, welcome to the Stronger Together podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And for those who have not followed your journey, who may be just meeting you for the first time here tonight, and just as far as cadence, Kelli's in my top right-hand corner and Ainsley's in the bottom. Sometimes we get those, we learn that early in Zoom, like it might not always be what the viewers see. So I just wanted to point it out. So I'm going to start with Kelli and then go into Ainsley, just for those who have not met you yet or haven't had a chance to follow you and see your work. Tell us what you do and where you're from.
Sure. I'm originally from Michigan. You can probably see the colors in the back.
Die hard.
Absolutely. Wolverines here. But I live in South Carolina. We've lived here since we got married in 2006 and are raising our children here. I will say the weather is a little bit nicer than where I grew up. But just I've worked as an educator probably for the last, 17, 18 years now. Started out working in the classroom in more of an intermediate setting, then became a curriculum coach, literacy coach, that evolved into a technology coach. And so I've been working in a technology coaching capacity for the last 6 years now. So that's what I'm doing in Spartanburg School District 5.
Wonderful.
And I'm Ainsley Hill. I am an instructional technology facilitator from Memphis, Tennessee. Originally, I was in the classroom. I taught special education, specifically students who are deaf and hard of hearing, and even more specific, students with cochlear implants and hearing aids. So I was teaching academics, but also layering those language strategies on top to help them expand their vocabulary. And I did that for about 5 years, and I became a tech coach. And found really quickly, like, I love the technology, the ed tech field. And this is now my second year being an instructional technology facilitator. So I'm still a baby at this, but super happy to be here. This will be my second year at FETC, and I've really found my community. Super happy to be here.
Awesome. And I think just listening to both of your stories and hearing from so many people in that same journey and pathway, moving in and out of different positions in our field has been really important, and having that opportunity to shift and do some of that. And because of that, it allows you to meet other people, allows you to meet other individuals. And I think that is really what your session is going to be dedicated on and focused on. So you are presenting here. This is your wonderful graphic. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check out both of their Twitter handles. It's on there, and I'll put it down at the bottom. And this is a topic near and dear to my heart. When I wrote Power of Connections, and I can't wait to come to your session and hear it, because I like to learn how that is evolving. So I'd love for the two of you to kind of talk about what this is, where this came from, and what our participants are going to learn when they come in and spend some time with you.
Okay. Do you want to go? Do you want to say where it came from, or do you want to? What part?
Why don't you start, Kelly, about talking about how we got here together as a partnership?
Sure. Okay. Okay. So basically, I saw Ainsley on Twitter. I wasn't stalking her. It was completely safe and legal. But I saw her on Twitter. She actually, I mean, there are some other details before that, but she actually, her flight took off from the same airport my flight was taking off from about a half hour before mine did. So we were living the same life, just about a half hour behind one another. And so we didn't get a chance to meet up. She tried coming into my session. They wouldn't let her. It was a workshop. There was a whole, the differentiation between a basic and a workshop is different at FETC, which I learned as a first timer this last year as well. So we didn't ever get a chance to meet up. And so we just kind of, I wanted to work with her. I wanted to meet her. And so we just kept in contact after FETC, and we organized a couple of different things through social media with other EdTech educators to develop that sense of community and to continue the feeling of FETC. So we did a book chat on Twitter based off of the Merrill's book, The Interactive Classroom. And then shortly after that, the same participants, then we all did a Zoom together with the authors, with the Merrills themselves and the people that were in the book club, and just had a really fun, I almost feel like it turned into a little bit of a focus group for what's next for them. They were asking our opinions of different things that we had tried in the book. And the book went on crazy sale at some point when we were doing our book study, and it ended up being like $2 or $3 a copy for a very limited time. So
perfect timing.
I would say so.
Yeah. So I bought quite a few. I think Ainsley bought a few extra, and we were just sharing with anyone that we worked with. And so it ended up being a very unifying community building experience. And that is what was the springboard to what we're going to be talking about at FETC. So Ainsley, I'll let you continue.
It was really powerful. I had never found my community like I did through Twitter. Initially, whenever I was in special education, I knew there was a community out there, but I didn't reach out to socials to find it. And so going to FETC as a first year instructional technology facilitator, I didn't know anybody. But I quickly found how explosive my community became after meeting people and networking with people and meeting with Kelly. And I was just in search of a mentorship. I'm in search of collaboration constantly. And Kelly was able to give that to me. And she said, "Hey, you want to do a book study?" I'm like, "Never done that before. Let's do it." And we just had such a great response. And we learned so much from these authors and from the people that joined us. And we're just craving for more. And we want to spread that to others that are looking for that in their career. And that's why we decided to present on that at FETC.
No, and I think that's great. Again, it's incredibly, my story similar started at FETC when I started to write The Power of Connections, because I was a singleton up here in Massachusetts. I was the director of digital learning and innovation, and I had an opportunity to meet Carl Hooker and Adam File at Tech and Learning, and we started to become friends, and then we started to do some events together. And it wasn't until it was the FETC in Miami before COVID that I just started to just put myself out there and meet other people, and was like, wow, this is powerful. The story that the two of you are talking about. When I saw your session, I reached out, I was like, I have to hear more about this because it's great. And I think having that opportunity is rare in our field to be able to connect with others. Now, the real question is, have the two of you met in real life in the same zip code? So that's got to be like a reality show. Like, you have to film it, and someone's got to like be there when you meet.
I feel like we have, though. When you ask that question, I'm kind of like, wait, have we? I feel very familiar. I'm very like her, like I feel like her, I know her son. Like I think there's so much to be said for connecting through the socials, not only where it starts on Twitter, but then Facebook and some of the different things, Instagram, where you get a little bit more personal about things. But I truly think, and this is to piggyback off of what Ainsley said, is that if you've never put yourself out there and you're in our field, and a lot of times if you work in ed tech, you're either the only one in your building,
Absolutely,
or the only one in your district, and you really don't know who your people are immediately right around you. So you've got to put yourself out there at events like FETC or ISTE or some of the other conferences, and just I guess that's why professional development is so important for people in our role, because we don't come in contact with or encounter a lot of people that share our position, and you can feel like a lone wolf out there most of the time. So
Kelli and I both just have a love for conferences. We get real jazzed about them, and it's even more incredible when you find those people and they're all at FETC. They're all excited to be there, and you feed off of each other's energy. And so when we do these events throughout the year, it gives me that same type of feeling, that jazz feeling, and gets you on fire for education, which is so necessary to avoid burnout.
absolutely. And Ainsley, I know I sent something this morning. You met some of my very early connections from down in Texas, Jenny and Salee at the Tennessee event. So
love them.
Yeah, we connected early on in my kind of journey and theirs as well, and been fast friends ever since. So we'll get a chance to see them as well at FETC. So, question for you both, and again, this is just as much about me learning about what other people's perspective are on this topic. Where do you start? So, like Kelli, you had the courage or trust to reach out to Ainsley and start to make that connection, and then send out, like as you talked about, your book club and different things. For those who are first timers, how does that work for you? Like, what would be your suggestions?
I mean, I think, and Ainsley and I had a conversation probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago about this when we were fleshing out the session and what it looked like, and words that we couldn't think of then that we can think of now. That's my thing. But basically, I think it comes down to beginning with searching that hashtag. But figure out what your niche is, what hashtag you want to begin to kind of go through. And then the big word that I couldn't think of a couple weeks ago, I texted her the next morning, is not only for the people that you follow, but the people that follow you. Make sure that you're kind of doing an audit of their profiles and the things that they're into and the people that they follow and things that they do, because now Twitter is so predictive in who might be a good connection for you, that once you follow somebody, it's like, okay, well, here are other people that follow them, and here are so just using those tools to really begin to put yourself out there. And I think it begins with a sincere and genuine comment to say, hey, Ainsley, I love that that electronic business card that you just designed and put on your phone instead of bringing business cards. That is so cool. How did you do that? And then, I mean, truly, it's about being sincere and genuine and putting yourself out there. But these are your people, so these are going to be the people that you collaborate with and swap ideas with. And I think just where I would start is start searching. Well, get your social media account and then start
right.
So I don't know. I think putting yourself out there is a lot of it.
Absolutely. And a couple of things that when I started my Twitter journey, because I was more towards like the special education, but when I decided to make my journey towards ed tech a few years ago, I decided, what do I want my feed to look like? Do I want it to be positive education? Because you can find a lot of negativity.
Sure.
I didn't want any of that. I wanted positive education. I wanted it to be ed tech. So again, searching those hashtags. But then how are we contributing to this community? And that's what's making the difference for you, is contributing material. So I found the courage to, what she mentioned earlier, my first time going to FETC, I didn't have a business card on me, and I'm like, I don't want to hand out business cards. What am I going to use? And I created a digital business card on my iPhone wallpaper and shared that. I shared it with my community on Twitter, and it exploded. And I was like, oh, so this is how it works. This is what it feels like to be a part of a professional learning network. And then when I went to FETC, I ended up meeting up with so many people that did the same kind of project on their phone, which then led to me talking with Flowcode and all of these companies that, you know, create, especially for my flow tag right here. They reached out to me and was like, hey, you know, we saw your Twitter post. This is actually what we have as our product, and you should use this because it's a lot easier. But just by putting myself out there, it formed even more connections than I could even have imagined. So that's my advice.
So now there's hundreds of sessions, and why yours?
I think because it's different. I think that maybe we could attract the people that maybe it's their first time at FETC. Maybe they've not ever put themselves out there. We can speak from experience. And now we're like seasoned veterans at FETC going into our second year.
All right.
But we can speak.
You can do it. You can do the hair flip. Like here we are. You got this. There it is.
Really, we can speak to that. And also, I mean, as like a lifelong learner and someone who seeks to make those connections, like what we have been talking about, how cool would that be for us to be able to present at this little leadership roundtable, and then to see the journey that some of these people, after, you know, sitting with us and really encouraging them to get out there, and then, you know, that say next year, fast forward to the next year, and they're just, maybe they're presenting, or they're, you know, joining up with some different professional organizations, and it's like, yeah, you know, just someone to kind of push them along, encourage them, and also teaching people. I wish I knew half the stuff that I know about Twitter now when I very first started. I think I got my account maybe in 2008, maybe. I wish I knew then what I know now about it. And so I feel excited to be able to pass some of that along too, because it is, there are some scientific things that go along with it. So
it's a full circle moment too for us, because we started the connection at FETC last year. And now we're presenting together at FETC this year. Like how that, I think coming to our session, we can prove to you how big of an impact that these professional learning networks can make on your career, on how a mentorship works, and how you can effectively create a Twitter profile for learning and a positive environment.
And also that I would also say that mentorship, you know, you think of mentorship, you think of someone looking up to someone else, but really I feel like mentorship can be, you know, like a symbiotic relationship where I'm feeding off of something Ainsley's doing, Ainsley's feeding off of something I'm doing. And so it is very mutual, and it kind of just, you know, kind of taking turns mentoring one another and other people. So
sure. So one of the things I hear a lot about in our field, and it always rubs me a little bit the wrong way, and I want to hear how you can support individuals coming today. I hear fake it till you make it. And sometimes first timers come to this event or any event, and they just kind of fake it like they are the best guy at the bar, or buying shots for everybody, and like thinking they are just doing what they need to do, and think gym selfies are the way to go, or different things like that. But inside they're like, this is my first time. I really need to break out. And you had talked about it was your first time, and now a year later you're presenting. What would your recommendation be to first time participants?
I'll let you go ahead.
Well, for me, last year, since I had been building those connections on Twitter, I really presented myself as a fangirl. So when I would see these people like Jenny and Celie, when I would see these people, I'm like, I learned so much from you in the pandemic, and just approaching these people and having just conversations about what made an impact for you on my life as a technology facilitator, really helped kind of foster those connections. And then we just stayed in touch throughout. But I definitely recommend just like coming at it as a fangirl, because it really helped me, because I would get so nervous too, and meeting these people in real life, and because I just learned so much from them. So don't be afraid of coming up and saying, hey, I'm a newbie and I want to learn from you, and I've learned so much from you. Like, what's your advice, and how do you work with harder teachers? And asking so many questions. Come to the conference with questions for these people, because you will see them. You'll see them at when they're selling their books, and you can go and just have a conversation with them.
So we've talked about 20 minutes about kind of your FETC, but tell me about your work. Tell me each of you individually what inspires you about your current jobs as well, because what happens is we go to these events, we share, we learn, we connect, and then we have about 360 days before an event like this happens again. Or I know ISTE's coming up and different things, but when you go back to your fields, what are you driven by or excited about to bring to your districts?
I think for me, I am driven by just the excitement that I get from if it's students one day, teachers another day. My favorite time in my job is honestly in the classroom.
Okay. And you get to do that a lot?
Yeah. I can pop in. I mean, normally I like for there to be volunteers, but I mean, I can pop in at any point in time. And really my most recent passion has been working with kindergartners and first graders.
God bless you.
Yeah. Love that.
I really do. My personal children are both in middle school now, so it's been a long time since I've had little ones. And just some of the different things, with coding and the robotics and just some really great things that were not around, that are now around that I can use and work with. And so I am just really excited to work with just the little ones these days. And that's been where I've tried to spend a majority of my time, because I guess I feel like with anything else, computer and technology standards and skills are so foundational and build upon one another that if I can do some basic coding and let them play with robotics and let the colors tell the little indie robots what to do next, and they might not understand how that relates to what's next, but it builds. And so I really like being on the forefront of that. And the kindergarten teachers are always super excited for me to come and bring my toys, because the kids are excited. It's like Legos, the kids are excited about it. So.
Right.
I am very inspired by my teachers. So I work in an elementary school. I love the littles. I get pre-K to 5th grade. And I get into the class. Yeah. My son actually attends the pre-K there too, so that's pretty cool. I get into the classrooms all the time. And so I primarily I'm a tech coach, and I get to co-teach and show teachers how to effectively integrate technology. And so I get to use all of my instructional practices that I learned in the classroom and just layer on those technology strategies. So when I go to these conferences, I'm inspired by the apprehensive teacher. How can I get into that classroom? How can I make a difference in this classroom and get that buy-in from the teacher to use technology? And it's such a passion for me when a teacher says, whoa, that wasn't that hard. I'm like, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And that's when I can make a breakthrough with the teacher. And then they'll come back to me for more. So what do you think about this? And then what do you think about, what if I did this time? And then you see their wheels turning. So that really inspires me. And as I go into the conference, I'm always thinking about the problems that teachers are having in the classroom, and how can I make their lives a little bit easier? How can I make their students more engaged? We have a really big push in our district to have more creative projects. So that really lends itself to me going in and making it successful for them.
Wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you both for the first time in person, and really seeing your session as well to learn from it. And my last question will really feed into your session. And I ask all of our guests that come on, what does Stronger Together mean to you?
I'll let you go first. Do you want to go first? We'll take turns.
Yeah, so for me, it's just finding your community, finding your tribe. Like I said before, sorry, my headphones are falling out. Like I said before, I did not have that, and it was very isolating for me in the special education world. And if I would have found that, maybe I would have stayed in special education longer. But going into the tech coach community, going into that professional learning network, I wasn't isolated anymore. I had a community, and it really just put me on fire for education.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I would even take it a step further to where once your PLN is developed, and once you meet people and you attend these conferences yearly, and you have these different events that you're doing, and you're going to meet up and you're going to see your people that are that just kind of set you on fire again and get you excited, and just you get to spend time with almost like a second professional family, really. And so that for me, it strengthens me throughout the year, to where there are those points where you kind of feel like, hey, I'm kind of hanging out by myself. So just reflecting on that, and going back to your professional network whenever you have a question, or if there's a situation that they've been in before that you can ask them about. So I feel like there's a lot of strength in that. So
Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining. For those of you attending the event January 25th at 11 o'clock, make sure to check out this great session. I don't know off the top of my head, I probably should have, what room it's in, but make sure to check out Kelli and Ainsley as well. It's going to be great stuff there. Thank you both for coming on. For those of you who are watching, make sure to check out their Twitter handles if you have not followed them. As you've heard this last 30 minutes, they do a lot online. There's a lot of sharing. I had a chance to go through and see some of the great work that you both were doing. And we look forward to seeing you at FETC 23.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Wonderful. And for those of you watching, again, make sure to continue to tune in. We have a lot of our FETC presenters coming in and throughout this week, and look forward to meeting them, hearing about their sessions. And as we heard today from Kelli, from Ainsley, and as you hear from me each and every week as we talk with these great individuals, this collaboration is where this power comes from. And when we put we over me, we all are stronger together.